in the ring, feel the adrenaline rush, throwing fists and kicks, the pain we can't hush. And then they find us, we're the real tough guys, breaking down barriers, we aim for the skies. Into the octagon, like a warrior I stand, slaying blows, taking hits as I command. The art of combat, I'm ready to go. Submission, knockout, that's how I flow. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with my golden octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling like a golden octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D Rose.
Yes, that is us. My name is Matt. D Rose is on that cyber screen, and this is the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. D Rose, this is number 149 of these. We've been going at this for a while, dude. With that being said, we truly appreciate yeah. With that being said, we truly appreciate you guys for stopping by here and hanging out with us here tonight. If y'all don't mind, hit that thumbs up button for us. But on today's show, we have got a UFC Seattle recap. D Rose, not too bad of a card this past weekend. We got some UFC fight news and announcements to go over, and how do I say this? Last week when we got off the podcast, Dana White hopped on his live and, dropped all the news possible that we've been waiting on for a while. And then some news dropped right before the
podcast too. Just right after the podcast. Of course it was.
Yeah. And then some news dropped right before the podcast right now. And then apparently Dana White's going to go live again later tonight. So probably going to miss out on something else right after the podcast as well. So we'll have some more stuff to catch up on next week.
You get a reaction a whole week after the fact.
Yeah, right. And then at the end, last topic on the show today, we are going to give you our UFC Vegas 103 Manel Kape versus Asu Almabayev. Me and D Rose's preview and our picks. And if what we plan on betting, if there's anything so far. And then you can catch me Friday, change the chatter for my final picks and bets. So with that being said, let's get in the chat real quick, D Rose, and then we'll kick the show off. So we got Austin in here. We've made it through Wednesday. The weekend is in our sights. LFG. Shout out you, Austin. Hope you enjoyed the fights this past weekend, my guy. We got Antoine in here. Got to hit the shower. Then I'll link up with you boys. So many fights to discuss and massive storylines behind them. Indeed, Antoine. Indeed. Let's see. We've got have a great shower, Antoine. I'll be thinking. Austin. Happy to report Cejudo. Oh man. We do have some Henry Cejudo to like to bring up on the news section as well, D Rose, because he talked to Jason Herzog. I'm not so happy to report that NJ is implementing some BS higher tax rate for sports betting. That's stupid. I'm sorry to hear that, Dave. I'm sorry to hear that. D Rose, what's your top 3 N64 games of all time? Oh, he got the N64 shirt on.
Yes,
yeah.
Man, so I mean, my top 3 N64 games, the ones, and this is just going off of what I played the most. Super Smash Brothers, that was one that was constant rotation. Super Mario 64, I mean, that was the game, of my childhood growing up. And I mean, honestly, probably Mario Kart. That was another one. I'm a big Mario guy. I mean, I was actually playing some Mario Party earlier on the Nintendo Switch. I still love playing, Mario games and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say probably those three.
Fair enough. Dave says him blaming Herzog should have said he couldn't have seen it at the end of 5 minutes and got a no contest. Yeah. And then we got Austin. I don't know what that is, D-Rose. Super Mario 64 and Mario Kart are the goats. Agreed. D-Rose, I was a weird kid. I didn't have, I got the N64 and stuff, years after it was already out. I got the green one that came with the Donkey Kong, the yellow Donkey Kong. That's the one that I had. And then I had, weird games like 007 and, I don't know, I think I had a Mortal Kombat.
Was a go game. I mean, Donkey Kong Country. I think Diddy Kong had a racing game. I mean, they had a bunch of odd games, but those were those three that I mentioned were ones that I just played off the top of my head. But I mean, yeah, there were a lot of badass games on there. GoldenEye. I remember, back in the day, playing multiple games of that with my cousins.
It was so crazy because you couldn't save it back then. You would just play it for no reason. Let's see how far we can get today, and then you're just done.
Well, they had in some of those they wouldn't, but they did have save files to where you would have to manually do it yourself. So if you did not manually do it yourself, you would have to press start, hit save. But if you didn't manually do it yourself, it would not save. So that was one of the big things that Nintendo was slacking on back then. That PlayStation, they did the auto save, and were so advanced at that time.
Yeah, man. Anyway,
Nintendo's the goat, though. Nintendo's still the goat. Still hanging around for this long. Mario and everything. Yeah, still love me some Nintendo.
Indeed. Let's get this show started. Let's see. Golden. What's the rest time? Yeah. All right, D-Rose. Before we start talking about the card and all that, how'd you do betting wise this past weekend? Did you hit anything? Did you get smoked? How'd you do on your picks and such?
Yeah, I got smoked. My picks weren't so bad. I did not tally in terms of my exact record. I do have to go back and tally that, but yeah,
I can tell you real quick because
my bets,
you got Tapology done, right?
Yes, I did.
I got you.
but no, for my bets, I absolutely got smoked. And the last one that I had was a parlay that I sent you, and basically the last leg. yeah. So not pretty bad, but not terrible. So yeah, the last leg on my parlay was for the main event to actually start the fourth round. And did Jason Herzog not go to each corner and state to them that he was going to start the fourth round? And
that's what I heard.
Lo and behold, FanDuel does not pay me out for that bet because where it ended in a technical decision, and they said that there was not basically any action that ensued in the fourth round for it to technically have started. So they ended up shunning me out of my money instead of what Jason Herzog said he was going to do and start the fourth round. So yeah, I got a little I'm a little salty with FanDuel this week. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet, dude. I bet. Thankfully, my song 4-5 or decision bet cashed because he did win via decision. But I also had the fight to go to the distance, and that did not cash. So it's weird that the song via decision cashes, but the fight to go the distance does not cash. So FanDuel was weird this past weekend, dude. Yeah, maybe we get D-Rose over on the DK side to start using the DK side. But on a good note for me personally, we did hit a change to cheddar parlay this past weekend. It was a 6-leg, $5 to $217, I believe. What was it? Just to make sure. It was $5 to $217.57. It was a 6-leg plus 42.51. Gave that out on Friday on Change of Cheddar, and we fucking cashed that one. So that's what's up. Hopefully we can do that again this weekend. But aside from that, let's get into the recap. Song Yadong versus Henry Cejudo. I guess it says it ends via decision in the third round. which I know which I know you hate. But yeah, man, that I thought Song was winning every bit of that fight. To me, it was, I don't want to say Henry was looking for a way out, but it was like, man, I'm losing. I don't have a path to win here. Maybe if I did get poked, I can't really see. But if I say I'm done, maybe it'll get called like no contest, like or something like that. But in turn, Song wins via decision. I don't need to see a rematch. Like I saw what I needed to see. Song was winning. I mean, I guess you picked Henry to win. I guess what didn't go as planned on your side? Was it how big Song was? Was it just his takedown defense? Was it just how hard he was able to hit Henry, or something else?
Yeah, no, I really thought the bigger thing was where the size advantage was a little bit more than I was anticipating going into there. And I'll say that a big thing was that I thought Song was a lot more calm in his approach this time around versus where he had been in the past, where he's naturally a lot more aggressive coming out, really trying to go out there for the knockout in the first couple of rounds, and he does tend to fade as the fight goes. Versus, I believe this time around, he actually came in there, calm, cool, composed, and was ready to go from the jump. But I thought that he was super composed, didn't go for the knockout necessarily early on, but was able to land big power shots. I did think Henry was able to swing some momentum there in the second round. I thought that Henry had some big shots there that he was able to land. So I did think that two of the judges had scored that second round for Henry Cejudo. I do agree with that. So I thought Henry had some success in the fight, but I did think that he was basically getting a little bit overwhelmed even before the eye poke. I do genuinely think that the eye poke did affect him, and it's the way that Herzog kind of handled that whole situation was really weird. And I know you want to touch on that, but just the whole situation was weird in the way it played out. And, unfortunate for Henry that, he ended up saying that he couldn't see. And, at that point, the fight had to be stopped because of the eye poke. And it was accidental, but, should he have taken the point? Should he not have taken the point? I don't know. It's just so up in the air. So it was hard to judge in the moment. I thought Henry looked good, but I just thought this Song was really patient and really played out the game plan.
Yeah, and we got Montana Chi here saying if he would have said I can't continue after the eye poke, it would have been a no contest, which is the wild part. It's like him saying that he was good to go after the 5 minutes is the reason why the fight went to decision, but yet he calls Jason Herzog. I don't know when it was, but Henry Cejudo put it up on his YouTube or Instagram. Called Jason Herzog, asked him why did you do that, man? Like, you're the reason that I lost the fight. Like, you can't blame Jason Herzog for getting beat up. You got eye poked, but even if he did take a point, like, I don't think that's changing the result too much, man. But I think everyone saw that Song was clearly winning that fight. I don't need to see like a rematch. Anything else from you about what happened, like the Jason Herzog call, or anything after?
Yeah, just like I said, he just handled it so weirdly, in terms of how it all fell out. I like that he was able actually to talk to Henry and say, well, you know what, maybe I did handle that wrong to a certain extent. Maybe I should have done this or should have done that. So I do like that, a ref in MMA is willing to step out on a public platform and actually talk to a fighter about, the result of the fight and say, well, hey, maybe I should have handled things a little bit differently. And, maybe we can get a little bit more clear understanding of the rules and such, maybe going forward with fighters and refs being able to really talk out these situations so everybody can be on the same page.
Yeah, fair enough. Antoine, for who logically would be a next opponent for Henry if he continues to fight. I don't know. Any other weenie. Mario Bautista, 2 weenies, 1 gauge.
Mario Bautista was trying to call for that fight, telling Henry that he needed to accept the fight after he after this, whatever the result was this fight, that Mario Bautista wanted it. Yeah, let's not do that. I mean, honestly, Aldo would have been the fight. I mean, an older fighter, kind of like a Legends tour for both guys. 2 older veterans, but still got some good fight left in them. So I thought that would have been the fight, and maybe that is still the fight. Even regardless of Jose Aldo's next result, which I believe we'll get into later. But yeah, I think that would be the fight for me.
Yeah. John McCarthy came out and said Henry telling Jason to take a point was probably a major reason why he didn't take a point.
Well, understandably,
Yeah.
that and 2, it's like it was weird that, like, okay, Henry, so now you're trying to plead for a point to get taken. That's just, that's what also made it feel weird, was when he's sitting there trying to plead for a point to get taken. It's like, it almost looks like you're looking for a way out. I mean, I kind of do genuinely feel that the IPO did affect him, but also, like, hey, let's see if I can get out of here with a no contest. And, unfortunately for him, it ended up being a technical decision.
Yeah, man. I agree. Anything else on the main event this past weekend?
No, we're good.
Cool. Co-main event was Brendan Allen versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Dude, that fight went exactly how I thought. Just wrestling by Fluffy. Maybe first round could have got a little sketchy, but we knew we would see the tongue out and the peace sign, and then round 2 and 3 would be Fluffy, and that's how it went. Fluffy via decision. Anything on this fight, dude?
No, it was a fun fight. Fun fight, good performance from Fluffy, and honestly, Brendan Allen looked really good to start the first round as well. And there's not many times where I can say that, like, I genuinely agree with Michael Bisping, but, like, I could not agree with him more that, like, Brendan Allen can never not get in his own way. Like, he has to do something. Like, his IQ, like, he's so talented. I mean, I picked Fluffy to win the fight.
Only in the fights that really matter. Like, this is the
Right.
fight to get him over that hump, and he just does something dumb.
Right. Well, like, and even he won the rematch against Chris Curtis, but it's like, why are you trying to stand up with Chris Curtis and box with him? And he was continuously, and I know that Chris Curtis was able to stuff a lot of takedowns and stuff like that as well. It wasn't easy, but he was willing to just engage in boxing with Chris Curtis, and he was continuously getting hurt in that second fight. And then in this one, I mean, you're obviously the advantage for you is going to be the striking. And, Fluffy catches your foot and stuff. And instead of you trying to, maybe stand back up, you're trying to jump on his back and stuff. You're going into Fluffy's world. And that's where he's going to take advantage of you, because his scrambling, his just pressure, pace, just relentlessness from Fluffy, he's going to get the best of you in those grappling exchanges. And, Brendan Allen just continuously jumping into, like, trying to get Fluffy's back, or jumping in the guard, or, he gets up from the takedown, then he re-engages with Fluffy while he's on the ground, and Fluffy takes him back down. And it ended up being a fun fight, and I did pick Fluffy to win, but man, I just came away. I was like, man, Brendan Allen, he just makes some head-scratching mistakes sometimes, and it's just irritating. But it was a really good win for Fluffy, and I'm really excited to see him potentially get matched up with the top guys in the division in his next fight.
Yeah, we got a head scratcher coming up this weekend. But moving on, for this fight, the featured fight of the night was Rob Font versus John Matsumoto. Close fight, dude. I can see cases being made for John Matsumoto winning this fight, but I think the pressure in the third round was for sure, like, enough to win Rob Font the third round. I think the round up for discussion is the first round. Yeah.
I thought personally for me was I thought the second round was a lot closer. I thought the first round was I thought Matsumoto had a lot more control on the ground, and then there wasn't really too much in the striking exchanges. So I thought Matsumoto won the first round. Now I thought the second round was pretty close because Rob Font did start landing that jab a little bit more, started busting up John Matsumoto's face and everything. So for me personally, I thought the swing round was the second round, but Rob Font fought a good fight, man.
Yeah, close fight, but I did think Rob Font won. At the end, what did you think?
Yeah, I personally thought that Matsumoto won round 1 and 2. Although I do recognize that round 2 was very close. Again, when Rob Font's landing that jab, just snapping it, and he ends up landing that up elbow, and I know that was in the third round, but he was able to land like damaging shots versus even if John Matsumoto has a little bit more of the top control and he's able to land enough strikes, they're not as damaging as what Rob Font was able to throw back at John Matsumoto. So I could see how that second round was a swing round, but that ended up being a really fun fight. And I loved it at the end. They kind of did their own little, we're always going to call it the Holloway moment, but they had their own little Holloway moment as well. They both kind of pointed at the ground and, swung there at the end. It ended up being a really fun fight, and the crowd ended up popping there at the end. So it was good to see those guys deliver.
Indeed. We got Hawaiian 5-0 in here with the aloha. We got Austin saying what's up, and then Hawaiian 5-0 saying what's up to Austin. Anyway, this is a funny one, man. John Silva versus Melsik Bagdasaryan, and dude, not only did he fight this past weekend, we already got some fight news for him coming up in the next few pay-per-views, dude. John Silva knocks out Melsik Bagdasaryan in the first. I believe me and you both had a bet on him to win via submission. Didn't even try, dude. Just went out there and just smoked Melsik Bagdasaryan, dude. What do you got here, man?
Yeah, he's just an absolute menace. Joan Silva. I love saying the name like that, Joan Silva. But yeah, he's an absolute menace. The only thing, if there's one thing I could take away from him, when he's constantly doing the hand slapping and trying to dap dudes up during the fight, do not do that with him, because that's when he's at his most comfortable and he's got you with your guard down. Yeah. Do not do that with him when he's trying to sit there and slap hands and engage with you, because that just means that, hey, he's getting ready to lock in.
It's almost like if you don't, though, then he gets mad and starts barking at you and coming at you with fury, though. It's like, pick your poison.
I'd almost rather do that, because I feel like when guys do that, it lets their own guard down, because they're like, oh, yeah, they're kind of being friendly. And then, 3 seconds later, you're getting a big punch thrown at you, and you can't tell if he's going to try to dap you up or punch you in the face. So, yeah, the fighters got to quit doing that with him, because that's Silva's little measurement there to be basically like, hey, I got you now, bang. And but dude, he's so fast, so powerful, and he's going to be fun to watch. And I know we're going to talk about him here in a little bit. So, but yeah, he's super fun to watch, man, and going to be exciting to see him move up the rankings moving forward.
Yeah, and Antoine wants to know, do you think he can become champion? He's 28.
100%. I mean, I want to see how he matches up, a little bit going forward, but does he have the talent? 100%. I believe he has the talent to get it done.
Dave, he's gonna hit Bryce Mitchell so hard he'll wake up knowing it's not spelled fight.
Terrible.
Well, we got Dio the Demon in here. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Could y'all search up 2 losses on his Tapology? I'm curious. Who are John Silva's 2 losses? Who do you think it is, D-Rose?
Man, I could not even begin to tell you. One's going to be like Pat Sabatini. It's like, what the hell?
It is a dude named Gabriel Schlupp. In 2018.
Oh, dude, yeah, Gabriel Schlupp. Yeah, that's right.
And Pedro Henrique in 2017.
Damn, 2017.
Yeah, he lost via split decision. And Tapology ads, and he lost via unanimous decision. Yeah, so he's only lost via decision. Yeah. Wild, dude. Wild. Anyway,
Dudes
so
are
let's
killers, man.
move on here. Alonzo Minifield, Julius Walker, dude. Man, I was on Alonzo Minifield finish here. I thought he should get Julius Walker out of there. But man, Julius Walker seems he's a tough guy, but at the same time, I don't want to look into it too much because I don't think Alonzo is in shape for that fight. But Alonzo wins via decision. Anything on Juicebox versus Atomic Alonzo?
The biggest takeaway was that Julius Walker has a chin from hell. For him to, cause dude, he was taking some explosive punches from Alonzo Minifield. I know, like you said, you don't think Alonzo Minifield was in that great of shape, but dude, there was times where he was just eating punches clean and almost didn't look phased. Like, I will say that he did look a lot better than I anticipated him looking.
Mm-hmm.
So him, Julius Walker moving forward, athletic guy, looked like he got some pretty good striking. He tried to go for the wrestling there a little bit, but he just, of course, is gas there. And dude, can you believe that they actually had made that the fight of the night on the card? That was the fight of the night. Like, that was the award bonus. But that was the award bonus for the night. When they announced the award bonuses, of course, Joan Silva got the award or post-fight bonus. Ricky Simone got the post-fight bonus. And then this fight got fight of the night. I have no idea how, but for some reason, this fight ended up getting fight of the night.
It's like the only one.
For some reason, this fight got fight of the night. I have no idea. I guess they didn't watch the rest of the card, apparently, because I don't know how that one got it.
No idea, dude. All right, moving down to the prelims. Let's run through these. E1 versus Ebo, dude. My side of the podcast parlay cashes. I was like, I don't care what happens. This shit is going under 1.5. My favorite play of the card. My side cashes. D Rose's side. Maine to go to decision. I'm not going to count it as a loss because it did go to decision, but I guess if you would have bet it, then it wouldn't have counted, right?
Well, according to FanDuel's bum asses, no, it wouldn't have. But apparently, DraftKings, it would have. So, yeah, if you had been on DraftKings, it would have counted.
Who knows, dude? Anyway, Ezekiel Costa, Andre Fili, dude. I don't even know what. Like, it was almost like Andre Fili was not in a choke and then found himself back in a choke. Like, I was like, what even happened? But Ezekiel Costa gets the round one guillotine over Andre Fili. Mansour Abdul Malik just beats the ever-loving shit out of Nick Klein, but not without consequence because he did get spinning back elbowed at one point and he got stumbled. It was a little scare for everyone. I was like, oh no.
He almost got finished himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He almost got finished there for a second. It was great for him to recover, but big shot he ate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The spinning elbow that he ate. And then Ricky Simon absolutely just kills Javid Basharat. This broke most of my parlays, but thankfully, dude, I was safe this past weekend. Even in the three that I shared, I was like, I'm not putting Javid in all these because it wouldn't be the first time that he's burnt us. Probably won't be the last time. And thankfully, I left him out of the one, and we did hit the one, dude. Nikolai Veretennikov versus Austin Vanderford. Austin Vanderford gets the second round TKO. And then after the fight, Veretennikov goes over there and pushes Austin Vanderford. So would it surprise you if Veretennikov gets cut from the UFC after that?
It wouldn't surprise me just because I think he's 0-2 at this point. But they did ask Dana about this in the post-fight press conference. And, it was one reporter in particular. I think you were talking about him too. He asked one of the stupidest questions during the press conference with Dana the other day. And he was talking about Carlos Prates, and he had said, are you going to have any news on Carlos Prates soon? Like the news that he literally just announced last week with Carlos Prates that he's going to be fighting Jeff Neal. Yeah, those news. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
But that dude was an absolute idiot. But
yeah.
But
no,
my
connection cut off there for a second. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I think
No,
I
it was
started losing a little bit.
mine. Like I actually saw the little thing like up there, like it actually cut off on the two sides. I was like, oh shit. So hopefully the internet's good. Well, I think let me turn off the Wi-Fi on my phone. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, man.
But yeah, no, I don't know if the guy gets cut, but that was a dumb move for him to make, for him to go and push Austin Vanderford after the fact. Like, hey, maybe you should have done something during the fight, not after.
Yeah. We got Derek Jufrey in here with the 199 super sticker. Appreciate it, Derek. Help. Oh shit, help.
You think that Ricky Simone? Some people were saying that Ricky Simone knockout is up there for knockout of the year so far. You think that's a front? I know it's early, obviously, but you think that could be like, at the contender at the end of the year for knockout of the year?
I mean, it was pretty violent knockout, but I just have a hard time. I mean, it's so early still, but I mean, early contender, sure, why not? Sure, why not? But thank you, Derek. Truly appreciate it, brother. And then we got Dio saying he's getting cut for sure. Yeah, dude. Anyway, Rizaboev, Eric McConaughey, dude. Rizaboev beat the ever-loving shit out of Eric McConaughey. And Modestas Bukauskas, dude, absolutely just mops the floor with Rafael Casera, dude, in the first. That dude, for sure, a fraud now, right? Like, he gets crushed 2 times. One by Ibo Aslan. Like one by Ibo Aslan. Okay, he came out through power, but you're getting finished first round by Modestas Bukauskas? Nah, dog. You gotta go. Nah.
To get smoked by Modestas Bukauskas too.
Yeah.
Like not like, hey, he caught you with a big shot. Like, nah, like it wasn't close from the beginning. Modestas Bukauskas like walked him down and just treated him like an absolute pile of shit.
Him like Brian Battle treated Kevin Jusay, dude. It's like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, 100%. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, with Mansur, do you think 28-29 he's one of those dudes in middleweight division? I don't know, man. It's still early right now. Tough to call. What about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, it's just hard to tell because he's so green, and man, he just hadn't had anybody really push him just yet. Obviously, he's had some pretty decent matchmaking so far in the UFC, but I do think that I would like to see him tested just a little bit more because obviously he has the talent, but we just haven't really seen him outside of the spinning back elbow. Outside of that, I don't really think Klein had much of a chance this past weekend. Put him up to somebody who's really going to give him some adversity throughout the whole 3 rounds to see him get tested, and then I'll feel more comfortable making a decision.
Fair enough. So, with that being said, anything else from this card? Altogether from me, dude, I think we were both kind of giving this card shit. It's just like all these fighters falling off. They're just kind of signing fighters, adding a whole bunch of fighters.
Well, it was a lot of fighters that we wanted to watch too, like Edson Barbosa, Steve Garcia, and fights like that. You know what I mean? Those are good fights that fell off the card.
Yeah, and then we're like, all right, it's Dana White's Contender Series Seattle, dude, and that card was mostly finishes, dude, and that card delivered, dude. So, kind of jealous of like Austin being in the arena there because I know it had to have been like loud. Should have been a blast. Hope you had a good time, Austin. So let's move on to the next portion of the show. Or I'm sorry, D-Rose. What about you from the card while I get this next one pulled up? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a fun card, super fun card. And I a lot of good finishes, and everything was everything lived up to or beyond expectations, just because, as you said, we saw such late notice fights and guys getting signed the week of and things of that nature. But no, all in all, good night of fights and some good performances, and we saw some star making performances, and from guys like John Silva and them. So yeah, it was a good night.
Indeed. We got Austin. It was amazing. Watching on TV doesn't compare. Can't wait for them to come back to this arena. Yeah, dude. It looked like a blast, Austin. It looked like a blast. So let's get into the news and fight announcements. So I guess let me get this up. It is what it is. Last week after the podcast, D-Rose, Dana White popped his oily self on Instagram Live and let us know that Ilia Topuria was vacating the featherweight championship, moving up to 145 pounds. No news as to who he's fighting yet or when he's fighting yet, but for the vacant 145 title on April 12th for, what is this, UFC, what was it? What is this, UFC 314. It's going to be Diego Lopez versus Alexander Volkanovski for the vacant 145-pound title. Man, is there a title that gets vacated more than the 145-pound title, dude? Like, but anyway.
Or interim belts or something like that.
Right? But with that being said.
Well, Volk had the good run of defending the belt, though.
Yeah. What's your immediate thoughts on this announcement, dude? I mean, it's... I know we all wanted Ilia to fight Diego Lopez, maybe defend the belt at least a couple more times, but just vacated it, man. And yeah, we now have Volk versus Diego Lopez. I think it's no secret who I'll be going for here, but I'm curious to hear your opinion here, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early on, so I would probably early on, I'm probably leaning towards Lopez just because we've seen Volkanovski, get chinned in his last few fights, and not to say that all of a sudden the first punch Diego Lopez lands is going to put Volkanovski out, but it does kind of seem like when the chin goes, it goes, and I think that Volkanovski is still obviously a viable contender right now. He's still as talented as ever. And really, I would say before Topuria ran Volkanovski back against the cage and landed that knockout blow, I mean, I personally thought Volk was winning the fight up to that point. I mean, Topuria's face is busted up from that jab and bleeding real bad. And, he was pretty bruised up after the fight, in the face. But, obviously, Topuria has that nuclear power. But Lopez does have similar power in terms of, getting guys out of there and, or hurting him real bad with his counterboxing. So it's a fun matchup. I hate that Ilia did vacate to move up, but I do think that Ilia, he believes that he can move up and win the 55-pound title, and he's taking it serious by vacating. But I really would have loved the fight with Diego Lopez and Ilia Topuria.
If I guess. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I like Diego. I think a lot of people are probably going to like Diego. But man, look who was fighting tough though, and Diego's did gas when he was fighting Dan Ige and his pressure. I don't look too much at that one. That was like he had a crazy week, dude. Like he was fighting like
such weird circumstances, the weight and the no weight thing. And so Dan Ige did take that fight on, yes, he was taking on such short notice, but he also was in fight camp and had a fight scheduled 3 weeks after that fight was supposed to happen, because Dan Ige was supposed to fight Chepe Mariscal, and he ended up taking the fight 3 weeks earlier against Diego Lopez. So we can say that Dan Ige didn't have a full camp necessarily, but damn near. And Diego Lopez took that 2 weeks off the couch. So I don't want to hold that against Diego Lopez too much.
Yeah, I agree. Man. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and move on. Or let's see if you guys got anything to say in the chat. Okay, here we go. Volkan to start round 4 going to be my best. All right. Anyway, that's a couple of pay-per-views. Also on the same pay-per-view in Miami, we got light bout. I think this is also going to be 5 rounds as well between Michael Chandler and Patty Pimblett. We were right, D-Rose. This fight is the one that's happening. What's your thoughts here, man?
This is the one that this is the am I muted? No, this is the one that we, like you said, we had called from the beginning, and and Patty did drop, little breadcrumbs and see you at the top and stuff like that. We were kind of picking up tails from that. And really, at this point for Patty Pimblett and his UFC career, if we really want to see what he's going to do in terms of potentially fighting for a title or anything like that, you need to start moving him up in the rankings, man. And I think for Michael Chandler, I know Michael Chandler came straight in. You know, he was a Bellator champion. You know, I told you that I'd watch him at Bellator plenty of times, and I've always been a fan of him, and I'm still a fan of him. But you know, he's kind of came in and basically have fought the top names already. You know, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje. You know, he's already fought those types of guys already, and it wouldn't hurt Chandler to take a step back into someone who you would consider less competition, but it would also benefit Patty to help himself move up in the rankings if he's able to get a win against somebody like Chandler. So I think in terms of where they're at in their career right now, it's going to be very interesting because you could say Chandler's on the way out and Patty's on the way up, or you could say that, hey, Patty's just not as talented enough and Chandler's going to go in there and land a bomb on him and get him out of there. I think the matchup is super intriguing. The way they match up, Chandler's boxing and power. Patty's willing to scrap too, but we obviously know that, if he gets it on the ground and he gets Michael Chandler's back, it could be some trouble for Michael Chandler. So it's a really good matchup, and I really like the fight.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I pretty much agree with you. It's either probably Michael Chandler by knockout or Patty by submission. I mean, I guess it could go Patty decision as well, but I think like everyone wants to see either the knockout or the submission. And then we get this also in this is UFC 315 in Montreal, May 10th. We get Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Two things here. One, we were right about how UFC was going to bring Bilal to Canada because it seems to hate Canada. And then what happened, man? Why JDM? Why not Shavkat? And what do you think happened here?
Yeah, well, I believe Shavkat posted on, it was either X or Instagram, where he had stated that he had wanted to take the fight then, but he had sustained an injury, and that basically he was going to fight the winner between Bilal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena. And we know how the UFC is in terms of, hey, they got a schedule and they want to upkeep that schedule. And I did hear an interview with Bilal Muhammad. He had talked to John Anik and Kenny Florian, and he was basically saying, like, hey, he just told the UFC, like, hey, whoever's the next best guy, come on up. He had said that he didn't really want to fight. Didn't want to fight with Usman because it just wouldn't make sense with Usman. So who do you guys think next? And he said they threw out the name JDM, and Bilal Muhammad was like, hey, let's do it. I like that fight. He's a deserving contender because he's on a long win streak. He finished Gilbert Burns in his last fight. So yeah, if it's not going to be Shavkat, it makes sense for JDM to get the fight. Now, I think in terms of matchups, I do think Bilal Muhammad is definitely going to be the favorite going into this fight versus Bilal Muhammad would have been the underdog against Shavkat Rakhmonov. But I do still think that JDM still poses some threat to Bilal Muhammad that he hadn't faced quite yet on his winning streak.
Yeah. Does Dana White hate Canada? Yes or no?
It seems so. Yeah, pretty much.
All right. We also got the news that Pitbull is now in UFC and he's going to be fighting Yair Rodriguez. This is one dude that I think is very tactical. I think UFC really wants Yair Rodriguez to win this fight. Also UFC 314 in Miami. What's your thoughts here?
Hold on. I'm actually interested to hear your take on that. That I haven't thought about it from that angle. Because for me, I would say that I would think that they want Pitbull to beat a Yair, but I'm interested to hear your take on why that you think the UFC wants Yair to win.
You think UFC wants an old retired Bellator fighter that basically wasn't good enough for PFL to pay? You think they want that fighter to come over because they're also paying him to come over and kill basically one of their top Mexican stars, dude?
I mean, so the only thing that I would say is that, I would say at this point, Yair, it doesn't really benefit him. I think if Yair wins this fight, one, I'm questioning whether this fight happens because this is something that I could see Yair going through a similar Zabit type route and not wanting to take the fight because Patricio Pitbull stated, in an interview that it did seem like Yair did not want to take this fight initially, and that the UFC has been kind of twisting his arm to take this fight. So
But
for
you have
me,
to look at who Pitbull's manager is, and
yeah, but
waiting
no,
to tell
what
him to say
Pitbull has been saying in interviews necessarily, not his manager. He was the one who had said that, he believes that Yair, basically the UFC kind of twisted his arm into taking it because he had gotten a couple names. I think he said Aljamain Sterling was a name that they've thrown out there. Yair, and I think Brian Ortega were the fights, and Rodriguez, in terms of timeline, he was ready to fight now, but he didn't necessarily want to take the fight against Pitbull. So for me, I just think it puts a fresh new contender at featherweight. If Pitbull is able to go in here and get the win, you do have somebody who's experienced. You can maybe make some storylines for a new guy coming in and getting a shot. So, I mean, for me, I would say that they would want Pitbull to win more than Yair.
Yair's been probably looking too good. Maybe I just think Yair probably just knocks out Pitbull, but that's just me. And we got a question here for you from Antoine.
Man, it was definitely some weird stuff that Yair was doing. It was like all of a sudden, these random injuries out of nowhere. Then they went to cut him in the UFC, and then they brought him back. So, I mean, I know you were saying that Yair is one of their bigger Mexican stars, but it's not like the UFC has had the best of relationships with Yair as well. So it's not like, he's been the golden child for them by any means.
I think recently they're probably on better terms, and he's honestly looked a lot more better here, like recently too. Anyway, let's move on. We got UFC announced. We got UFC London March 22nd. It was going to be JDM versus Bilal, right? I mean,
right.
JDM
versus
Leon. Yeah. And then that fight got switched up and is now Sean Brady versus Leon. Officially set for UFC London March 22nd. I'm excited for that card. Should be a fun one. Can't wait to win some money on that card because the last 2 times UFC has been in London, your boys cashed out. Hopefully I can do it for the 3rd time as well. What's your thoughts on this, D-Rose? Is this going to be the main event?
Yeah, it looks like it's still going to be the main event. I know that Sean Brady was calling for this fight before they had made the JDM and Leon announcement. So for Brady to kind of get this fight after the fact is, I guess it's kind of like a full circle moment, him kind of speaking it into existence. You can say for Sean Brady, and for Leon, it kind of sucks that, he's preparing for pretty much a boxer in JDM versus, boxer wrestler type and Sean Brady. So it's going to be a pretty different style matchup wise that he's going to have to switch his training camp for. But, it's March 22nd. So still got a little bit of time to make those minor adjustments. But Leon's been in the game for a long time. So I think he'll be ready. But I think it's a good matchup for both guys.
I agree. That's Ilya moving to the lightweight. Let's see what else we got here.
Do you think Ilya gets a title shot right away, moving up a lightweight?
Yeah, I think this happens right here. I think International Fight Week, we get Ilya versus Islam. I mean, why would you not go ahead and announce something unless you were waiting for something big like this? I see this happening.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, man. I would love to see it. And I think Ilya, I saw where his manager had said that, I believe, or it was his manager, there was some representative of him that got on Twitter and basically said that he wasn't going to take a fight up at 55 unless it was for the title. That was the reason why he vacated the featherweight belt. I mean, for me personally, I would like to see the fight, but I would still favor Islam, man. I mean, I just think that
he's big, dude. A big guy.
Yeah, Islam's just a big dude, man, and he's going to be a lot bigger than Topuria, and we've seen Topuria gas in fights before. Like I said, I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago when he fought Yusuf Zalal. Like Topuria gassed out in the Yusuf Zalal fight bad, and when and Yusuf Zalal kind of put it on there in the 3rd round. Islam, his wrestling, his pressure, his size, his striking. I mean, Islam's got it all, man. So yeah, I just think that's the toughest matchup as they come, and Ili's going to have his hands full if that's the matchup.
Yeah. Do y'all think Leon is one of the greatest welterweight? No, not me. What about you, Dave Rose?
No, not real. I mean, is he one of the top 6 greatest welterweights? Sure, but never been personally my cup of tea.
Yeah, we're waiting on the news, Antoine. We're waiting on it too. I think Islam ragdolls him, and I do think Islam faces adversity. Defeat people, Dalit Alexander too. Yeah, but I don't know. Islam's a big guy. I'll have to think about it more when it gets a little bit closer. Let's see here. So that's going to be UFC 314. We got Nikita Krylov versus Dom Reyes, Carlos Prates, Jeff Neal, Pitbull versus Yair Rodriguez, Michael Chandler, and Diego. Man, that's going to be a banger in Miami. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was going to sneeze there for a second, but we're good. Yeah, dude, and they've been serving up Miami some badass pay-per-views over the last few years. So, yeah, I guess they're trying to serve up Florida for being a state that took care of them during COVID. But yeah, I'm glad that they tend to deliver in Miami more often than not.
Do you have much of an opinion here about the whole Marab, Corey, Sean O'Malley, this whole situation going on here? Because I could use the run downstairs to grab something to drink, but if you don't have much to say, then
yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'll take it from here. Yeah, no, I think in terms of this matchup, I think for Sandhagen and Figueiredo, this is a good matchup. I think that stylistically, Davis Figueiredo with the heavy plot and jumping back and forth and darting in with his power to really try to get guys out of there. He's been using his wrestling a lot more at 135. Figueiredo has, so we've been seeing him use that more in his last few fights. He even dropped Peter Yan in his last fight. He dropped Chito Vera. So Davis Figueiredo's power clearly carries up a weight class. He just has a little bit of a reach issue up at that weight class, and especially against a guy like a Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen is going to be a guy who uses a lot of footwork, jabs. He can dart in and out with his good footwork, get off on angles so that way he can land and not get hit at times. Sandhagen's a good fighter, man. So that's a good matchup, and I really do like that fight.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a good one. However, I feel like this could look exactly like Sandhagen versus Yan.
The only thing with Yan is that Jan's striking is just a little more dynamic than Davis and Figueiredo, just in terms of what he can do. I still remember that that was such an underrated banger of a fight, Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen. When Peter Yan throws the spinning back fist and then he comes through with the hook after the spinning back fist, man, it was just a work of art that fight was, and that underrated banger. If you guys haven't watched it,
yeah, man. Here we go. Last one that I have that I don't know what's next here. Before the two new ones, I know we got Joel Alvarez versus BSD. That's going to be May 10th, UFC 315 as well. Dude, that Miami card is going to be good. What's your thoughts here?
Dude,
hold on. That's the Montreal card. That's BSD in Canada, so it kind of makes sense.
Dude, they are doing BSD dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the guy that they were putting up against Dustin Poirier, saying that he was going to potentially fight for the title after Dustin Poirier. Hey, I picked Dustin Poirier in that fight.
Me too.
So, yeah, no, that's tough matchup, man. That's gonna be a tough matchup for Saint Denis.
Dude, Joel Alvarez is still not ranked. I don't know how, dude. He's so good. He's big.
He's good, but he hasn't really. It just goes to show how deep 55 is. Because I would say that although he's looked good and he beat Drakkar Close, Drakkar Close isn't a ranked lightweight either,
Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't really fought any of those types of guys yet. But as you see, BSD is ranked 15. Here's Joel Alvarez's chance to start getting cracked into that top 15.
You think this is true? No more double champs allowed. You must vacate your title to move up.
Yeah, I could see it just because look, you've been able to make the cool matchups in the past before, cool. but the UFC has a schedule that they want to keep up with. And, they want to keep up with that schedule. And they really don't want to have, let's just be honest, they don't really want to have women's fights headlining the pay-per-views because you don't really have that marketable of a star for the women's fights. So you want to keep the men's titles freed up as much as you can. So you could do a Merab versus Sean O'Malley, and then you could have Wei Lee versus Ferdinand James Roba as the co-main event versus, now Ilya just moved up and fought for the lightweight title. Now he lost, so he could defend the featherweight title, but now it's going to be a few more months. And, the UFC has a schedule they want to keep up with, and they got, the clock's ticking on their schedule. You can either make the fight or you don't. And if you can't, we're just going to put the next person up. So I can understand them wanting to dial it back just a little bit just to maintain the pay-per-view schedule.
Yeah, man. I agree. Once again, this is a fun one, man. We got Dana White after the press conference like this weekend said that this was the next fight that he was targeting, that these two guys wanted to fight each other and the fans wanted to see it. I saw a lot of people like furious, dude. Like, why is Sean O'Malley getting this title shot? Yada, yada, yada. Petr Yan is the only fighter in the top 5 coming off of a win, this, and this. And it's like, do you want to see Merab versus Yan again, dude? Like, that shit was fucking terrible. Like, I don't know how to think. I don't feel bad. I mean, and clearly you can't hate Sean O'Malley because he's the one being offered the title shot. What's he going to say? No, I don't want a title shot. Let's let some of these other guys have it. That would sound stupid, So of course he's going to take the title shot. I hope Sugar wins here. But I don't know. When do you think this happens, D-Rose?
I don't know. My whole opinion on the thing is that I don't want to. So I know that's your guy. I mean, I'm not going to hate on O'Malley, but I'll say this, that I think for the way that the fight played out, I know you were talking about the way that the way it played out with Yan and Merab. I mean, but outside of that one, teep to the body of Merab in the 5th round, I mean, you can make the argument that fight was the same too. And I think with O'Malley's last fight being against Merab and seeing the way that Merab was able to do that to him, I think a lot of people are scratching their head because they don't know how much more Sean O'Malley can improve upon his performance, not having a fight in between going into a rematch with Merab because, hey, his last fight was, he was pretty much getting dominated by Merab. So what is he going to be able to do to really change that outcome? And nobody's really been able to see that from Sean O'Malley just yet because, his last fight was against Merab, and now he's going into a rematch after getting dominated. It just feels kind of awkward going into it. But the problem is that before Merab got the title shot, he wiped out the whole division. So him and Alexander Pantoja are in a similar position to where now it's just going to be rematches against everybody now if you want to stay in this division. And Sean O'Malley at this point is the biggest moneymaker in terms of those rematches. I don't think Merab has a problem, continuously defending the title against, whoever it may be. But he also wants to make the most money at the same time. And, whether people like it or not, Sean O'Malley is going to sell more pay-per-views than Petr Yan or, any of those types of guys would. So the fight makes sense from a business perspective. But in terms of a fight sense, I can see how people are scratching their head.
We got another one just now announced too, but we will get to it. Let's see. Pantoja versus Kai French, June 16th, UFC 316 in Newark, New Jersey. What's your thoughts on that one? That's your guy, man.
Yeah. They just ended up moving it because I believe they wanted to put this fight on the Miami card initially.
Yeah, I
so they just moved it.
Talked about that last week.
Yeah, we talked about it. They just moved it, more or less.
Yeah. And your heartbreaking news, D-Rose, I'll let you say your piece on this for a second. We got Dan Hooker pulling out, and the fight news that came out today was I'll go ahead and pull that up right here. This is the replacement, dude.
Yeah, unfortunately, oh man, for Dan Hooker, that was the Dan Hooker, Justin Gaethje, that was the perfect fight, man. Just absolute violence and chaos those two guys bring. Unfortunately, it is not just a scratch for Dan Hooker. It's a little bit more than just a scratch, and he is not able to make the fight with a busted pull, as he would say, with his busted pull. And unfortunately, that happened during sparring. But that was a fight that I'll tell you, I was much looking forward to that fight, Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. Then I was the main event with Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev, and that was probably the most anticipated I've been looking forward to for a fight for a long time with Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker, just because the violence that was going to ensue during that fight. And unfortunately, we're not going to get that, and we get Fiziev too, which is cool, but does Fiziev deserve this fight?
We just seen this. Like, what's going to change?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And Fiziev's been off for a long time. He's taking the fight on short notice. Gaethje kind of battered him in that last fight. Now, is this fight going to be 5 rounds too? I mean, I love that they're able to keep Justin Gaethje on the card, and maybe this is something that, hey, Gaethje gets back on the horse. He gets a win. Maybe he's one win away from getting the title shot. Maybe they rebook the Hooker versus Gaethje fight after this fight happens if Gaethje gets out okay, but my man, just absolutely heartbreaking that Dan Hooker wasn't able to make it.
Yeah, I agree, man. And the other one that we had was right after this. Look at someone put the Jewish National Fund gifts there beside Bryce Mitchell. But we get Jean Silva versus Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell. This is April 12th, UFC 314. Not too far away, but about 2 months, man. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, obviously, Joan Silva didn't take that much damage in the fight, but for him to just turn right back around, I mean,
dude, he called out Bryce Mitchell right after the fight too.
Yeah, like literally right after the fight, and pretty much right after the fight, they just sent the contracts. Like, the matchmakers just like, okay, yep, we love it, and just sent the contract.
You're like, only if you promise to do this exact same thing to Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, well, and of course, Bryce Mitchell had to take offense for all Christians, and had to tell him that there's only one Lord, and I'm going to love how Bryce Mitchell is going to promote this going into this fight to try to use that angle to try to win people back over on his side. I'm going to be super curious to see how Bryce Mitchell tries to use that to try to win the people back over, but yeah, I personally think Jones Silva does something similar to what Ilya Taporia did and gets Bryce Mitchell out of that bad.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be a rough one. And then we got Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. That's gonna be that might be the main event for UFC Kansas City. What's your thoughts here, man? April 26th.
Yeah, well, that and this was the fight that obviously
originally scheduled. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the fight that we had expected coming, from before. And, obviously Khalil ended up getting the title shot. And, Jamal Hill, I know that they had said that Khalil had been offered Jamal after the last fight, or after Khalil had fought Alex recently. But that's when Jamal Hill was like, hey, I got to fight with Yuri Prochazka. Why would I not take the fight with Yuri and fight Khalil Roundtree? But no, I think right now the timing is right for both guys. And I think it's a fun matchup, man. I mean, I think, Jamal Hill, obviously I know a lot of people don't like him and want to see him get slept, but it could kind of mess around and be a little bit of a good matchup for him too, if, depending on what
Khalil can't forget what Iwan Kutalaba did to Khalil Roundtree,
and Kutalaba uses wrestling too. I don't expect Khalil to be going in there or Jamal Hill to be going in there and wrestling, but we saw what Johnny Walker did to Khalil in the clinch, and if there's one thing that I can give Jamal credit for is that Jamal in the clinch is nasty.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Throws those elbows. Yeah, man. And then the last one I have, I guess it's not there, but right in front of my face, UFC at Des Moines, Iowa, May 3rd. And a fight on that card is Marlon Chito Vera versus someone we were just talking about, Mario Bautista. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Man, just because it's Mario Bautista, I don't care. I don't care.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Do you have anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to talk about? Let me see.
No, I mean, I think we pretty much covered all the news. I know it's a big lineup over the past week, so you know, a lot of big announcements, and obviously it was a few minutes after we had gotten off, but yeah, man, we got just about everything for now, at least, until Dana makes the next announcement.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen probably like right after we get off stream tonight. So,
but and I'm pretty sure like he sits around and like as soon as you say the Golden Octagon piece and I do the Kake France face, like Dana's like, okay, action, and then like all of a sudden
go live.
He hops on, hops on live and does his thing. It's like, so you wait for me to make the Kake France face first before you make the announcement, not before, you know.
That's exactly
Don't
what
be a
happens,
jerk.
dude. That's what happens, man. So with that being said, we got some fights to talk about for this weekend. We got Antoine. I think Cheeto can take that. Yeah, I think he can beat Mario Bautista. Which y'all's favorite fight out of the ones announced? Ooh, tough one. But he didn't announce that one yet, so I guess I'll go Diego Volk because I'm excited for that because you know that's actually one of the fighters that like actually was able to like one of the first few fighters that I met was Diego Lopez.
Yeah, no, that's a super fun one, and I mean I would say personally for me too is I think Michael Chandler versus Patty Pimblett. Super fun fight. Again, a good test to see where both these guys are at in their career right now. And, you know, I'm going to love to see where, you know, Chandler kind of comes out. You know, obviously he was inactive for a long time, you know, waiting for that McGregor fight. Came back against Charles Oliveira and looked a little bit sluggish. So I'm curious to see how Michael Chandler looks and let's see if Patty's ready for the top of the division.
Yeah, man, because this is really his like truly first step up. You know, like we had Jared Gordon and then Bobby Green, but not, you know, like not anything like really remotely close to the top of the division at all. So I think that's a good one too. I was trying to find like the Diego Lopez picture, but I couldn't find it. It's like 2 years ago at this point. So, dude, it's crazy that's been 2 years ago, right? That
time flies, dude. Yeah, you don't realize, but you blink and then it goes by in a damn snap of a finger, dude.
Yeah, man. Just crazy how quick shit goes by. So with that being said, let's get into the fights for this weekend. Let me get my screen shared and we'll get into it. Probably going to be visited by a few Tapology ads, but it's okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. So with that being said, this weekend, Saturday, March 1st, by February already, D-Rose. Hope you sold enough Kias this month. Shout out Mac McClung, boosting your sales. Anyway, we got Saturday, March 1st, 4 p.m. At the UFC Apex. We've got 12 fights headlined by number 6, Manel Starboy Kape, taking on number 8, Asu Almabayev. Yeah, that's going to be the main event. Manel Kape versus Asu Almabayev, co-main event. Co-main event. I'm going to say that again. The co-main event this weekend is Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez. I mean, we could just stop right there and be like, "Oh, this card ain't even worth it, D-Rose."
So here's the problem. Here's the problem is that if you stopped at the co-main event, you would say that this fight card is going to be garbage.
I know.
But if you go down the card, the card is actually a pretty solid card.
I know.
And you could
have almost like, why is this the co-main event? You know?
Yeah, you could have used any of the other fights on the card for the co-main event. That's not this fight because neither of the fighters are that good. Like, dude, you have Esteban Ribovics, who was just in the fight of the year last year. You're throwing him in the Apex, and you can't even make him the co-main event. You made him the featured bout under Cody Brundage and Julian Marquez. I don't know what they were doing in terms of slating this card.
Dude, this co-main event is like left ass cheek versus right ass cheek. The whole ass is this fight.
In the middle is the butt crack, which is going to be some rough.
Anyway, feature fight of the night. We got Nazareth Hackparas taking on Esteban Ribovics. We've got another fun one. Well, half of this fight's fun because who is not a fun fighter is William the Jaguar Gomi. Who is a fun fighter is Hurricane Hyder Emil. One of my fighters to watch out from last year. We've got left hand to God, Danny Barlow taking on the longest neck in the UFC. This is Sam Patterson. It looks like something's caught in there. What's caught in this neck? What's stuck in there? Anyway, we got Austin Lane taking on Mario Pinto. We've got Ricardo Ramos taking on Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal. Put this on the main card. Anyway, we got Douglas De Silva de Andrade taking on, God, I hate it, but I have to say it, the sexy Mexi John Castaneda. We got Lucas Almeida taking on Danny Silva. We've got Andrea KGB Lee taking on JJ Aldridge, man. Yeah, that's the fight. That's the fight this weekend. We got Charles Energy Johnson taking on Ramazan Timorev. I don't know how to say it. I'll find out this weekend. And then opening up the card, which was Charles Johnson versus Ramazan Timorev, but they switched it. It is now Montana De La Rosa taking on Luana Dread Carolina. Fights that fell off this card were Cody Brundage versus Ryan Loader, Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape, Asu Almabayev versus Steve Urseg, and Asu Almabayev versus Alan Nascimento. So looks like two fighters get booked together that their fighters got pulled out. So Asu Almabayev, Manel Kape is now the main event. D-Rose, I don't know if I can hold this any longer. I've been trying to not say it ever since I pulled the card up, but we have a rule here on the channel when it's Cody Brundage fight week. And what is that rule? Just
do not bet it.
Like it's just the rule, right? Like doesn't matter if you're betting for them. Doesn't matter if you're betting for them. Doesn't matter if you're betting against them. Doesn't matter if you're betting if you're betting the over, if you're betting the under, if you're betting a decision prop, if you're betting a round to start, it does not matter what you bet, because if you bet on a Cody Brundage fight, he will 1,000% ruin your bet. If you bet for the fight to go to decision, doesn't matter who it is, it will go to a no contest. If you bet for the other person to win, he'll win. If you bet for him to win, the other person will win. If you bet for him to win by submission, he'll win by decision. It doesn't matter what you do. He will find a way to ruin your bet every single time. With that being said, I'm breaking the rule this weekend, T-Rex. I can't not bet this under. I can't not bet it. It's like free. I have to. It's Julian Marquez versus Cody Brundage, dude. This does not get out of, dude. This don't get out of the first 2 minutes. It's not like, and here's why. Specifically, D-Rose. I think Cody Brundage goes in there and I think he smokes Julian Marquez. It's very rare that I pick Cody Brundage to win the fight, which is why I don't ever bet him, because it's like, hey, it's a Cody Brundage fight. He's ass. But man, this is Julian Marquez that we're talking about this weekend. That's now, dude. He might get knocked out putting the Vaseline on his face, man. Tate might fucking knock him out when he has to be careful, man. So I think the rule for me this weekend, it has to get broken. It has to get broken. I see y'all.
I know. We'll get into it, but that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm with Dave down here.
Dave, you can bet the fight to start round 1 and
No, I swear, he's not lying. Dave's not lying.
Oh,
Like he will
goodness,
walk
oh,
to the
goodness.
octagon and pull a hamstring or something walking out, and then he won't fight, and then your bet gets voided. Like it doesn't
But
matter. He will
I
ruin
think
it every single time.
I think when I look back, I think maybe I've not done that bad on Cody Brundage bets. Like, because I did bet Cody Brundage via finish when he fought Jacob Malkoon, and even though he did win via disqualification, I did hit that Cody Brundage via finish bet. So I think this might be another spot this weekend for me, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it when it happens. First fight of the night, we got Montana De La Rosa taking on Luana Dread Carolina. Montana De La Rosa is 30 years old, 5'7" and a 68-inch reach, while Luana Dread Carolina, 11-4, 31 years old, 5'7" and a 69-inch reach. I don't know if I said Montana De La Rosa's record, which is 13-9-1. Anyway, currently odds for this fight are Montana De La Rosa is your underdog at plus 114. Luana Carolina is your favorite at minus 135. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 475. Under 2.5 is plus 325. I'm gonna let you go here first, The Rose. What you got?
Yeah, you know how I've always been about picking a Luana Carolina fight. For some reason, I just cannot make myself pick Luana Carolina to save my life for any reason. And I will even say that she has improved over her last few fights with her takedown defense, and she has been, I don't want to say more aggressive with her striking, but more calculated with her striking. But I think, me personally, I do think that Montana De La Rosa does have good grappling. She does have good wrestling. She doesn't have the best of striking. She's going to use her boxing and leg kicks to set up the wrestling. But I think it might take her a minute to get the takedown. But I think once Montana gets the takedown, she's got good top control. And Luana Carolina has been known to have given up takedowns in the past before. So for me, I think Montana De La Rosa is the play here, and I think by decision for me for Montana De La Rosa.
All right, D Rose. Well, lucky for you, I had some free time this week, and I feel dirty about it, but I've done research on this fight. I watched Luana Carolina's fights, all of them in the UFC, and I've watched Montana De La Rosa's fights, at least the past few of Montana De La Rosa, because nothing's changed for Montana. As you said, Luana's takedown defense is solid, but there's one thing that does happen in every single UFC fight. She gets taken down. Every single UFC fight, she has gotten taken down. Doesn't matter who she has fought in, she has gotten taken down. And she doesn't know how to get back up. That's the issue. So solid takedown defense, but at some point she throws a kick, the leg gets caught, and she ends up on her back, and she stays there. And whether that happens or Montana shoots, pushes Luana back, and the fight ends up right there on the cage, I think Montana wins this cage push. So as the dog, I agree with you, D-Rose. Give me Montana De La Rosa to win this fight via decision. And honestly, I listened to a few people this week, a few people that I normally listen to, and they're on Luana Carolina. So this might be one of those spots where I pride myself in being like the women's MMA connoisseur. I think Montana wins this fight 7 times out of 10. So yeah, give me Montana to win the fight. Me and D-Rose are in agreement here. We'll move on to the next one, where we have Charles Energy Johnson taking on Ramzan Timorov. Yeah. Charles Energy Johnson is 17-6, 34 years old, 5'9" and a 70-inch reach, while Ramzan Timorov is 18-2, 28 years old, 5'4" and a 63-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are Charles Johnson is the favorite at minus 125. Ramzan Timorov is the underdog at plus 105. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 210. Under 2.5 is plus 160. I guess I'll go here since I gave you the last one first. This one was a tough for me, D Rose, because last week when the fights ended, I was like, all right, what's happening next week? And I just went ahead and I made a 4-leg parlay, and I picked Charles Johnson in that parlay. Partially because I think I got Ramzan Timorev confused with one of the other ones. I don't know how to explain it. Like, he's very easily confusable with like Asu Almabayev. What's the other dude's name too? I don't know. They're like,
I think Charles Johnson fought him as well. I know who you're talking about.
yeah, but they're just like these like Kazakh dudes that are really muscled up, and they all fight the same way too. So I picked Charles Johnson, and then when I went back to watch this, I was like, oh, this is the dude that crushed TJ Vergara in the first round. And then I was like, oh, this could get sketchy here. Because Charles Johnson does, take a little bit to get started, and Ramzan comes out hot, dude. So either way, either Ramzan wins in the first round or he wins the first round. Probably does enough in the second to win the second round. And Charles Johnson either wins in the third round or wins the third round. So tough fight to call. I've already gone back and forth already this week, but I think I am probably going to go to the side of Ramzan Timorev to win via decision. Energy Johnson's my guy. I got the bald cap here when I pick him to win, but it's a little dusty this week, dude. Hadn't picked him in a little bit, but I am going Ramzan Timorev to win this fight. Let's go via decision. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I am surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised that you went Tamarov. As you said, Charles Energy Johnson is your guy typically. So with you not picking him, not gonna lie, I'm shocked. But I can understand how you think that, because as you said, it does take Charles Johnson a minute to get started, and if it takes him a second to get started against a guy who's going to come out, full steam ahead like Tamarov, that's going to be the wrong guy to, kind of drag your feet against, because it's going to make it tough for you to, really get going if you're going to have a bulldozer like Tamarov running at you. But I think Charles Johnson just found his stride here as of late. I really think like that finish against Josh Van, it just showed so much poise that he was able to withstand during a fight, and it just showed a lot of aggression for him. I really think that Charles Johnson has turned a corner here. He's also got really good takedown defense. Super athletic, uses his range very well. And I think Charles Johnson has good takedowns himself. So for me personally, I think as long as Charles Johnson survives the first round, I think it's his fight to lose. So for me personally, I want to go Charles Johnson by decision here. And yes, he has an early storm in the weather here, but as long as he does that, I think it's Charles Johnson's fight to lose, in my opinion.
I don't hate it, man. I'm a Charles Johnson guy. I just think it's a lot this week. If he wins the Rose and you bet on it, you should grow out your skullet, man.
I won't.
Skullet gang, dig deep, and bring out his energy. Come on, D Rose, you got to channel it this week.
Yeah, I like the concept, but yeah, not a chance. I had to uphold a decently looking public image, considering I work with the public all the time.
Fair enough. That's our first different pick of the night. I am on Ramzan to Tamarov. D Rose is on Charles Energy Johnson. We'll move on to the next fight where we got Andrea KGB Lee taking on JJ Aldrich. Andrea Lee is 13-10, 36 years old, 5'6" and a 69.5-inch reach, while JJ Aldrich is 13-7, 32 years old, 5'5" and a 67-inch reach. I'm not going to give you both the women's MMA fights. I'll take this one. First of all, Andrea Lee's fight IQ is as good as her choice in men. That's not good, by the way. They're a bunch of like racist dudes. And then Tony Kelly, which is also a racist dude. So, maybe that's just her cup of tea. With that being said, she's fighting JJ Aldrich, and dude, JJ Aldrich is really, really white. Do you think Andrea Lee could You know, N- does she have it in her to beat up JJ Aldridge, man?
That is a good point. Her sisterin and
Dude,
kind.
JJ is so white, dude. Like it's like
She's fluorescent. Like she's not white, she's fluorescent.
yeah, dude. It's like I don't think Andrea Lee would feel right about beating up someone that's so white. So that being
Like JJ
said-
Aldridge is like, yeah, she is fluorescent. Like if she was like on a construction crew, like if she just went out there in like a tank top and like her arms could be the flagger like at night. Like her arms would literally be just flaggers just so they could see see the people flashing through it at night.
Yeah. Yeah. With that being said, all jokes aside, Andrea Lee's fight IQ is fucking terrible. She could literally knock you out in the first round and jump on you and wake you back up and then go on to lose the rest of the fight. But oh wait, that's happened. Oh wait, that's happened. So she's just not a smart fighter. She's an okay striker at distance, but here recently, dude, she's been doing uh the shadow boxing, dude. She's just throwing out nothing and hitting nothing. As for JJ, she's not going to blow your hair back. You know, she's not really great anywhere, but she's gritty. She's going to get on your hips. She's going to hold you, pin you against the fence, take you down, get some top control, maybe land some ground and pound. Yeah, I didn't say the odds, which are JJ Aldridge is minus 205 and Andrea Lee is plus 170. Over under set 2.5 minus 540 for the over. Under 2.5 is plus 360. I don't like the line at minus 205, but I once again I think JJ probably wins this fight once again, just like Montana, 7 out of 10 in my opinion. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet here. I think the clear path to victory, JJ Aldridge is the favorite for the reason. I think her path to victory here is for the takedowns. I think Andrea Lee, she's got good striking, but I do think that her weakness is that she believes in her defensive guard so much that when she's on her back, she's always trying to throw up triangles and throw elbows off her back and stuff like that. And I just think it's going to play right into JJ Aldridge's hands because I think JJ Aldridge is not a submission threat by any means. She's going to look to go for control. And I think that Andrea Lee is going to be a little bit submissive and going to her back because she's so confident in her defensive jiu-jitsu and throwing elbows off her back all the time. But I think JJ Aldridge gets a decision win.
All right, me and D-Rose both on JJ via decision. We'll move on to the next one where we got Lucas Almeida taking on Danny El Puma Silva. Lucas Almeida, 15-3, 34 years old, 5'11", and a 71-inch reach, while Danny El Puma Silva is 9-1 overall, 28 years old, 5'11", and a 70-inch reach. We got a banger here, D-Rose. Danny Silva is minus 218, your favorite. Lucas Almeida is plus 180, your underdog. Over-under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is plus 100. Under 2.5 is minus 130. I agree with that. Yeah, man, both. This is one of those ones that has potential to be fight of the nights. Both guys are going to come in here and swing dicks. Maybe Lucas Almeida, the more powerful of the two, but Danny Silva has the cardio to go all three. In his fight with Angel Pacheco, that was kind of a barn burner on the Contender Series. So, yeah, man, I suspect that Lucas Almeida comes in here and round one is an absolute firefight. Maybe another contender for round of the year. But then I think Lucas Almeida maybe starts the gas a little bit, and then maybe we see maybe late round two or early round three, probably some form of ground and pound finish from Danny Silva. So give me Danny Silva. Let's go round two knockout Danny Silva. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, no, this is an interesting fight. I do think that, Lucas Almeida is a guy that, he's a fun striker. As you said, he's going to come out and he's going to go out there and look to take your head off. I think it's been not quite a year since he's last fought, but it's been pretty dang on close. So, Lucas Almeida does go out there and put on a fun fight. I think, as you said, Danny Silva, he's a little bit of an explosive striker himself. So I do think this fight's going to be fun. But I do think that if you have like any sort of takedown in your arsenal, I think that you can take Lucas Almeida down. Lucas Almeida can get taken down pretty easily from what I've seen. And, Danny Silva, younger, more athletic guy. Lucas Almeida is more experienced, and I do think that you can say he's a more technical striker of the two, but Danny Silva does have good boxing. And I think, again, if he can just work in some takedowns in here, Lucas Almeida's takedown defense is practically non-existent. So I think Danny Silva does have a path to victory there if he does decide to use wrestling. I would say maybe even potentially a chance at like a submission or something like that. But let's go Danny Silva.
All right. So D Rose on Danny Silva.
I'll say my decision.
All right, D Rose on Danny Silva by decision. I'm on Danny Silva, late round 2 knockout. Up next, we have Douglas D Silva, D Andrade taking on John, the sexy Mexi. Sorry, I almost threw up.
Nice.
Castaneda. We got Douglas D Silva, D Andrade. 29-6 overall, 39 years old, 5'7" and a 68.5-inch reach, while John Castaneda, I'm not saying it again, 21-7, 33 years old, 5'6" and a 71-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are John Castaneda minus 305. Holy shit. Douglas De Silva De Andrade is plus 245. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 280. Under 2.5 is plus 210. Yeah, give me John Castaneda to just wrestle Douglas De Silva Andrade all 3 rounds. John Castaneda via decision for me. This isn't going to be a fun and entertaining one. And I hate the line at minus 305 because maybe John Castaneda minus 205, minus 180, something like that. But 305, that's just like, he can get cracked too. Douglas De Silva's got power, but most likely John Castaneda via decision. How about you, D-Rose?
Well, Silva De Andrade has power, so he could hurt Castaneda. And, he's got pretty good takedown defense, too, just because he's built like a brick shit house. The dude's super strong for his weight class and his size, and it's going to be hard to take him down. But I do think John Castaneda is the more natural bantamweight of the two, just in terms of, height, reach. And he's got good takedown arsenal in his game as well. So I'll also go Castaneda by decision.
All right, fair enough. Moving right along with the quickness, we will move into, I've got a good read here, and let's see if you tell me what my read is in your breakdown of this fight. We've got Ricardo Ramos, 17, 17-6, 29 years old, 5'9" and a 72-inch reach, while Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal is 17-6 overall, 32 years old, 5'7" and a 69-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are way out of proportion, but Ricardo Ramos plus 340, your underdog. Chepe Mariscal minus 440, your favorite. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is plus 110. Under 2.5 is minus 140. All right, D-Rose, what's my play here? And then I'm going to pass it to you to break it down.
Yeah, I would say
it'll be on FanDuel. I'll give you a little hint.
Probably Chepe round 3 or decision if I had to say. I think
I'll let you break it down.
All right. Yeah, so for me personally, I'll just say that is going to be the way that I go as well. And I'll tell you just because I think, Chepe has been a guy I've told you consistently. I've been a fan of this dude. I love his style. Just absolute got that dog in him. Just willing to get down, scrap. Doesn't matter if he's got to wrestle. He's just by any means necessary for Chepe, and you could just see it in his attitude, just his aggression when he fights. I loved the Trevor Peek fight when he came in, took the fight on short notice, up a weight class, and he's eating bombs from Trevor Peek, and then he's standing in the pocket and trading and countering and he beat Jack Jenkins. It was a nasty little judo throw the way he did that, but he's also beat Morgan Charrier, who a lot of people picked Morgan Charrier going into that contest. I did pick Chepe going into that fight, and I felt very confident in doing that, just because I know the type of dog that Chepe's got in him, man. I think Ricardo Ramos, super talented fighter, obviously known as the spinning back elbow guy. Got some nasty knockouts, good striking. He even showed in his last fight, what was against Kulabau, that he was able to even use some of his wrestling himself. But I think Chepe, just that nonstop pressure that he's going to be able to put on Ricardo Ramos, that's the only reason why I could potentially see a third round finish from Chepe. I could see just that constant pressure from Chepe wearing Ricardo Ramos late. Because if Ramos has space, he's comfortable, he can do his thing. If you're able to smother him and put that pressure on him, that's when you start to tend to get the best of Ricardo Ramos. And I think that's exactly what Chepe does. So let's go Chepe. I'll go by decision in a fun fight.
All right. So it kind of sounds like to me, D Rose, that I'm trying to see if it's available yet before I say it. Maybe I'll have a line. No line for it yet. Yeah, we're on the same side. Maybe you're just not as confident in it as I am, dude. I think Ricardo's going to gas after the first. So I think that Chepe KO 2-3 is pretty live, to be honest, because Ricardo starts spinning and shit in that first. He's going to get gas, dude. And he's not going to last 3 rounds with Chepe. So I think I might take a shot at the Chepe KO 2-3 once that opens up. Because I do think Chepe finishes Ricardo Ramos probably sometime second, third round. Hopefully it's via knockout, because that's what I want to be betting. Yeah. Thoughts on that?
That's interesting. I do think that there's a potential that could happen. I'm not as confident in the finish. I mean, just because
he killed Damon Jackson in his last fight.
Yeah,
Jason Herzog didn't stop it, so that's why I didn't reply to you earlier. Like when you're like, Jason Herzog's a good ref, I was like,
yeah, no, yeah. For the most part, I mean, he's better than Herb Dean and most of those guys now. But Chepe, yeah, he didn't finish Damon Jackson in his last fight. It's because that fight, it just looked weird, but it was almost like Chepe was kind of like. He was slowing down a little bit because he felt bad for beating up Damon Jackson, but
for killing a man in the cage. I mean, you probably like, I don't think I should keep hitting him. But
yeah, it definitely looks weird. But yeah, Chepe round 3 decision is kind of where I'm at.
All right. Well, in that case, hopefully it's Chepe round 3 knockout, and so that's what I'm going to call. Let's go Chepe round 3 knockout. Next fight, we got Austin Lane versus Mario Pinto. Austin Lane is 13-5, 37 years old, 6'6" and an 80-inch reach, while Mario Pinto is 9-0, 26 years old, 6'5" and a 79-inch reach. I've always seen a few fights on Mario Pinto, D-Rose. Currently, odds for this fight are plus 410 for Austin Lane and minus 550 for Mario Pinto. Over under on this one is set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 105. Under 1.5 is minus 125. And the odds pretty much reflect that, because Mario Pinto is able to stop a takedown, and has pretty solid striking. So with that being said, give me Mario Pinto to stuff the takedowns of Austin Lane and probably knock him out in the first round. Which way you going here, man?
I'll keep it short and sweet. I will never pick Austin Lane to win a fight ever. So let's go.
He's won his last Pinto. 2, man. He's won his last 2.
I will never pick Austin Lane in a fight to win a fight, even against Rebellis de Spain. Now, he only won his last one. Yeah, because he got knocked out by Jonathan Deniz in that fight before. So yeah, Rebellis de Spain. Even me knowing the fraud that Rebellis de Spain was, I was questionable about him coming into the UFC. I even picked Rebellis de Spain to beat Austin Lane. I'm not going to start picking Austin Lane now. Let's go Mario Pinto let's go first round knockout.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe what am I thinking about? Maybe I was just watching his fights earlier and I thought it was in a row. But anyway, yeah, Austin Lane, gets knocked out probably in the first round. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. We got a fun one up next. We've got Danny left hand to God Barlow 9-0 taking on Sam the Future Patterson with a neck. Anyway, Danny left hand to God Barlow 9-0, 29 years old, 6'2" and a 79-inch reach, while Sam the Future Patterson 12-2-1 overall, 28 years old, 6'3" and a 78-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are Danny Barlow minus 310, your favorite. Sam Patterson plus 250, your underdog. Over under on this one is set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 110. Under 1.5 minus 120. Yeah. Well, I don't hate the under. No, I don't. Under 1.5 could be tough. I don't hate the fight to not go the distance. If you have a 2.5 like available to you, I don't hate that under 2.5. Because it's Danny Barlow via knockout or Sam Patterson via sub. I'm pretty sure we can all pretty much agree on that. My thing is, I am strongly on the side of Danny Barlow via knockout, partly because the neck of Sam Patterson, even if he puts his chin down, man, it's not going to be tucked between his shoulders. He's going to get cracked still. We've seen him get cracked against Yanal Ashmos, which is a way smaller man. I know it was down at 155, but with the nickname of left hand to God and seeing what he's done to these people, dude, Josh Quinlan's a tough fella. Yeah, we can all agree on that. It's no one's really knocking that dude out, dude. Once again, Jason Herzog almost let Josh Quinlan die in there, but third round knockout for left hand to God Danny Barlow. In his last fight, broke his hand in the first round and then went on to beat Veretennikov via decision. So I don't look too much into that. So, yeah, give me left hand to God, Danny Barlow. Give me first round knockout here. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I think this one. I've been going back and forth with this one a lot. I will say, because I'm with you. I could see
difference in the two.
I mean, the crazy part is like Sam Patterson looks like a Pez dispenser. Like he looks like he's getting ready to start clicking out some candy like this.
It's gonna come out of
just clicking some out of his neck right now. Like he's just like and just click, and all of a sudden you got you a piece of hard candy. There you go. But yeah, I think this is an interesting matchup. Sam Patterson, as you said, he's been knocked out before. Danny Barlow, he just fought Veretennikov in his last fight, and Veretennikov took him late in that fight, so it ended up going down to a split decision. Veretennikov was able to use some of his wrestling there in that fight, was really able to put Danny Barlow in some serious trouble there. I think Sam Patterson having that knockout loss early in his UFC debut, I think that kind of helped him grow a little bit, because you've seen him become a little bit more aggressive but measured in his last few fights. And I think him just being a little bit more well-rounded. I think that's
counter you after you say this, because I know what's coming.
Yeah, no, I do think that Sam Patterson, I think Sam Patterson gets it done, man. I do like Sam Patterson here.
But before you solidify your decision, D-Rose, I have to get you to think about who those last two wins by submission were over, and just think about their ground game. Like, think about, okay, Kiefer Crosby, right? Submitted Kiefer Crosby in the first round, but so did Kevin Jusay at this point, not the best look. And then, not Ashmos, what's his name? Johan Lanus, dude, that he's a brawler, but we've kind of known now that you take this guy to the ground, it's a wrap. That shit's over. So yes, Sam Patterson's looked good on the ground, but over probably the absolute two worst people at getting taken down and having no ground game at that. So just keep that in mind before you solidify your decision here.
Yeah, and again, I just saw Veretennikov lose to Austin Vanderford pretty handily on just a couple of days' notice, who also gave Danny Barlow some issues in the wrestling.
So you didn't hear me. You didn't hear me at the beginning when I say that Danny Barlow had a broken left hand in the first round, so he went the whole fight with a broken hand. Still beat Veretennikov via decision.
Right. But still, I don't think that Veretennikov is as dangerous of a submission threat as Sam Patterson is. So
Okay,
I would
fair
say
enough.
that Sam Patterson has the more dangerous submission threat, and that's why I think Sam Patterson gets it done.
All right, so looks like I'm going to be keeping the pick champ over here on this side this week because, man, I'm pretty confident that we see Sam Patterson looking like Javed Basharat from this past weekend. I am with you, ASM 28. I am with you, my guy. I am with you. You get knocked out by Yanal Ashmos, and you're going to fight Danny Barlow? Whew. All right. Anyway, next fight, we got William Jaguar Gomi taking on Hurricane Hyder Emil. William Gomi, 14-2 overall, 27 years old, 6 foot and a 73-inch reach, while Hyder Hurricane Emil is 10-0, undefeated, 34 years old, 5'9" and a 70-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are plus 164 for Hurricane Hyder Emil. William Gomi is minus 198, your favorite. Over under on this one is set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 238. Under 2.5 is plus 180. Do you want to go here first, or do you want me to go, Darius?
Yeah, no, I can go here first. This fight here, I know people, give William Gomi crap all the time because
for being the most boring fighter in the world.
Yeah, he's a decision merchant. So hey, look, he did have the who was it against? That dude who Peyton Talbot also smoked. Gunnar Moria. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm looking at it here, but I can't remember.
Giannis Gamori. That wasn't a knockout. That was a nut shot that the referee called a knockout because they were in France.
But it was the body shot.
No. That was straight to the cup. The referee called it. They were in France. That was a fake knockout.
Right.
Actually,
that's what I remember. It was
because I picked 3 or decision, and you're like, yeah, dude, you wouldn't pick 3 or decision.
Yeah, I remember that, but no, I would say that I think William Gomi, his style, man, kind of the point fighter, keep distance, keep it clean. I think Hyder Emil is just, a small guy, a bulldozer. He's going to go forward and throw with everything that he's got, but I just think unless he's able to catch William Gomi with that big shot, I just think this is William Gomi's fight to lose. I think William Gomi just plays the range game the whole time. Jabs, teeps. Hyder Emil get too close. William Gomi catches him in the clinch, throws a few shots, gets out of there. I think William Gomi keeps it clean here. Let's go decision win for William Gomi.
All right. I'm excited to be split again here. I am on Hurricane Hyder Emil, baby. And I'm sure D-Rose could have told you I was going to pick him before we even started, because if there's one type of fighter that just Matt wants to get his lotion out over, it's Hurricane Hyder Emil, like Yuri Prochazka, Trevor Peak, dudes that just go in there, throw caution to the fucking wind, and just lay their nuts out on the table, man. This is a fight, dude. Hurricane Hyder Emil is, as his name implies, a hurricane, dude. William Gomi, on the other hand, in my opinion, doesn't really want to fight. He wants to, play this game where I'm going to touch you and then I'm going to run around and I'm not going to get touched. In my opinion, a weenie. William Gomi is a weenie. He does not want to fight. He wants to play this little patty cake game and run. And I think Hyder Emil makes him fight. I think he gets in his face and he throws bombs. And I don't think William Gomi's cut out for it. We see early knockout again. Hyder Emil coming out, throwing fucking bombs, and it's going to fold William Gomi under the pressure. Round 1 knockout, Hyder Emil for me. Bank it.
I like it.
Only my lotion.
I like the confidence, but yeah, that's what I like. Not your pick. I like Dave's comment on there about Verna's eye.
Yeah. All right. Next fight. We've got Nasrat Haqparast versus Esteban Ribovics. Nasrat Haqparast, 17-5, 29 years old, 5'10" and a 72-inch reach, while Esteban El Gringo Ribovics, 14-1 overall, 28 years old, 5'10" and a 69-inch reach. Currently odds for this fight plus 235 for Nasrat Haqparast, minus 290 for Esteban Ribovics. Over under is set at 2.5 here. Over 2.5 is minus 210. Under 2.5 is plus 160. Yeah, I guess you can say we got a boxing match here happening, D-Rose, right? Like a boxing match with spinning shit probably going to get thrown. Yeah, maybe a few leg kicks here and there, but mostly boxing match.
Yeah, you can make that argument.
Because I don't think Nasrat has ever shot a takedown. And if I remember correctly, Dan Hooker looked like he was Khabib against Nasrat Haqparast. So I think the path to victory would be there if Esteban Ribovics would go for a takedown. But I don't think he does, though. I think he goes in there and, like his other Argentinian counterparts, goes in there and just throws heat, man. As you said, was in basically the fight of the year last year with Daniel Zellhuber. Dude, being in the sphere, dude, people were going nuts when that shit was happening, dude. It was absolutely crazy. Yeah, and he's a super fun fighter. Clean combination, as I said, throws heat, dude. I think we see Esteban Ribovics kind of just box up Nasrat Haqparast for all 3 rounds, and we get Esteban Ribovics via decision. All 3 judges, 30-27. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, it could turn into a little bit of a boxing match. I know that fight with Zellhuber, Ribovics used a lot of boxing, but also don't forget he had one of the highlight reel knockout of the years last year against Terrence McKinney, where he head kicked Terrence McKinney and knocked him out so hard. Terrence McKinney was left smiling afterwards, like after he was slumped, like basically impressed by the KO, but being knocked out at the same time. Absolutely crazy. And I just think Ribovics, such a fun fighter. I thought that fight with Zellhuber was going to be a little bit too much of a step up for him, and clearly he showed that he was up to task. Just took insurmountable damage and was able to come back and still throw heat. The only thing I am a little worried about him about is that fight was in September. It has only been 4 months since that fight. So is Esteban Ribovics going to lose any bit of that chin? Because he got dropped a couple times in that fight while eating some big shots. And Nasrat Haqparast, he does have good boxing and can land that good clean punch. But I think as long as Nasrat doesn't land that one solid punch, I think this could be a fun fight. But I think Esteban Ribovics just got too much for Nasrat here. So I like Esteban Ribovics, and I think actually like Esteban Ribovics to get a knockout, man. I think he ends up hurting Nasrat. We've seen Nasrat hurt before. He got knocked out by Drew Dober. Esteban Ribovics has power in his hands. Obviously throws nasty kicks as well. So I think he can knock out Nasrat here. Let's go. I'll say round 3 knockout after a slugfest.
Fair enough. We're both on Esteban Ribovics. I say decision. D Rose on a round 3 knockout. Excuse me. Gee whiz. Maybe it's because I'm thinking about this fight again. Because I'm going to break the rule, D-Rose. Rule's going to be broken.
Man, I pray for you, man.
I mean, my confidence level on it, though, at minus 145 right now, is as confident as the one last week where Ebo and Eon to go under 1.5. It's like there's no shot this even goes out of the first round. Yeah, let's get into it. We got Cody Brundage, 10-6, taking on Julian, the Cuban Missile Crisis. Miley Cyrus, will you be my Valentine? Marquez, 9-5.
And blew it.
Fumbled the bag, homie. You fumbled the bag. She responded to you, dude, and you fucking blew it, you dork. You deserve all these times you have gotten knocked out now. Every single last one of them. Sorry.
Yep.
Anyway, Cody Brundage, 10-6, 30 years old, 6 foot and a 72-inch reach, while Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis, is 9-5, 34 years old, 6'2" and a 72-inch reach. Currently odds for this fight, plus 110. The underdog, Cody Brundage, and Julian Marquez, minus 130, your favorite. Over under on this one is set at 1.5 rounds. Over 1.5 is plus 114. Under 1.5, minus 145. Under 1.5 is my play of the week in this fight. I think it happens. Pretty confident it happens. But not only that, I'm picking Cody Brundage to win this fight via first round knockout. And for that to happen is currently plus 380. Julian Marquez has got no chin. He gets knocked out quite often. And I was listening to fight interviews this week, and Cody Brundage is really talking about how this one's for his daughter, man. Like, he didn't want to go to trainings sometimes, but his daughter has this something, and so she has to go do some form of work therapy for 4 or 5 days a week. So anytime that he didn't want to train, he would just go look at her and be like, well, she doesn't have an option. She has to do this, or she doesn't live. So they kind of give him all this extra fucking training motivation for this fight camp. And I think he's fighting for something this week. So yeah, give me Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage knockout. Cody Brundage knockout round 1. And that is also a fade on the terrible chin of Julian Marquez. I know you don't want to bet it, D-Rose, but which way are you going here, man?
I don't want to bet it, and I'm not going to bet it because I don't care because I've been burned too many times. I'm not going to get burned again. But I am sadly with you. I actually do think that Cody Brundage is, I think he's the more talented guy. I think in terms of, the wrestling, I think, he can really give Julian Marquez a problem. And I think that, he's got good enough power in his hands. He knocked out Trayshawn Gore. Again, the fight that really turned me against betting Cody Brundage was that Rodolfo Vieira fight. He hurt Rodolfo Vieira multiple times on the feet, but he just kept trying to drop to a guillotine and submit Rodolfo Vieira. And it was like, you're not going to. And now you're going to get submitted. He just constantly makes bad IQ decisions, which is why I don't like betting a Cody Brundage fight. But he does have the more talent here, and I could see him getting it done by finish. I'm going to go knock out Cody Brundage. I think it's going to be a ground and pound TKO. Let's go second round.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. D-Rose, you want to know how my brain works? And I hate it.
What's up?
I just read this comment, and then 2 Chainz verse pops in my head. Pharrell and 2 Chainz song, all I know is I'm gonna be fresh as hell when the fans watch.
Yeah,
and then the 2 Chainz verse song, he's like, fuck, I forgot. It's like Mr. Alexander Wang, Mr. Designer, everything.
Yeah, what you think that was?
Mr. Alexander Wang.
Yeah, what you think that was? Yeah, I mean, Dave ain't saying it like that for no reason. Come on now, that's a layup.
Popped in my head.
Yeah, that's how
my brain
layup
works, dude. That fucking whole verse just popped in my. I mean, the fans watch. Okay,
I'm fresh as hell at the fans watch.
All right, main event time. We got Manel, the Star Boy Cop, taking on Asu Zulfikar Almabayev. Starboy Manel Cop is 20-7 overall, 31 years old, 5'5" and a 68-inch reach, while Asu Almabayev 21-2 overall, 31 years old, 5'4" and a 65-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are Manel Cop minus 218, Asu Almabayev plus 180. Over under on this one is set at 4.5. Over 4.5 is minus 160. Under 4.5 plus 124. You know what I gotta do, D-Rose. Gotta pass it to you, man, and gotta get your best Starboy impression.
And now the winner by unanimous decision is
Matthias
Alexander Pantoja.
Nicolau.
and And Manel Kape is just in awe that he lost 3 rounds to nothing very easily. Huh? Just a clueless look around as if like, oh yeah, we saw you lose 3 rounds, dude. You did not win one of those rounds, and now you're acting surprised that you lost. Get out of here.
Yeah. Maybe if he was able to wear shoes, he would do better.
Maybe. Or maybe if they didn't have to actually fight.
In all of those other fights that he had, with the ring, he was wearing shoes in all those fights. Maybe it gives him superpowers, dude.
Maybe if they didn't have to actually fight, like before him and Makayev fought, versus when they actually fought, maybe he'll fight better.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I'll pass to you here. Let you do the breakdown. Let you pick first, and then I'll go.
Yeah, this one is interesting just because, of course, we were supposed to get the Royval matchup. Ended up being a Sue Almabayev. 2 different style matchups. Obviously, Brandon Royval does have some wrestling ability, but we know that he likes to use his strikes to kind of set up his wrestling. Versus where Sue Almabayev is, that's kind of going to be his first agenda, is to get the fight to the ground. I do think that he's going to have some advantages. Manel Kape's going to have some advantages. Asu Almabayev is taking the fight technically on short notice, but he was slated on this card to begin with, so he's not necessarily in a short camp. But I do think that if you get the Manel Kape that came out against Bruno Silva, I mean, man, it's going to be hard to beat that guy. I mean, unless you're Alexander Pantoja or Kape or France, I mean, or Brandon Moreno, I mean, I don't know who beats that Manel Kape, because he did look fantastic. As far as his striking, everything just looked so fluid. And that finish against Bruno Silva, when he gets Bruno Silva up against the fence and he's just landing bombs, and Bruno Silva is still striking, but he's just kind of slipping and countering with elbows and just absolutely brutal. I think if we get that Manel Kape, man, it's going to be hard to beat him. And I think that, obviously his takedown defense has gotten better over time. I know Makayev was able to control him for the most part, but it also took Makayev to damn near strip Manel Kape butt naked to try to get him down to the ground. So I think if Asu Almabayev does not get the fight down to the ground early to really try to wear down the gas tank of Manel Kape, I think Manel Kape's going to style on him. I'm just being honest. I think Manel Kape here should be able to get it done. I think it's going to be by decision, because I think that Manel Kape is going to be a little bit more measured and not go out there and tire himself out and get gas later in the fight to be susceptible to takedowns. But I do think that Manel Kape gets it done. I think it's going to be a pretty good performance here, and I think for Manel Kape could potentially be a title capturing performance as well. Or a title shot capturing performance from him. Let's go Manel Kape by decision.
Fair. Me personally, is it weird that I don't know if I care. I don't know if I will have a bet on this fight. I don't know if I don't know. It's kind of like this weird feeling of like, man, I don't know what's going to happen here, because as you said, Manel Kape has looked good recently, but he can get taken down. But to hold him down, as you said, Muhammad Makayev was holding on to his pants the whole time. But kind of 2 different body styles. Like Asu Almabayev is this kind of jacked up, got some muscles, like a little muscle hamster, dude. So it could go different, but I think I agree with you as far as Manel Kape via decision, just because can Asu Almabayev go 5 rounds? And if it comes down to it, say he wins the first 2 rounds, all Manel Kape has to do is not gas, win 2, 3. Win 3, 4, and 5, and he won the fight. So it's like, if Asu isn't ready for 5 rounds, then he has no chance of even fucking coming close to winning this fight. So I guess we'll see if he can go 5 rounds. But for me, it's kind of just like a wait and see. I am going to go Manel Kape via decision, which lets us know that we only have 3 different fights this week for the pick champ. They are, was it Ramzan Timorev? Yeah,
And Charles Johnson.
Ramzan Timorev versus Energy Charles Johnson. Danny, left hand to God Barlow versus the future Sam Patterson. And Hurricane Hyder Emil versus the Jaguar William Gomi. All right, 3 different picks for this weekend. I didn't say it earlier, but picks for last week were Varatinikov versus Vanderfurt. D Rose won that one. So D Rose come out of the gate hot. But then it was Costa versus Feely. Well, I picked Costa. D Rose picked Feely. It was Font versus Matsumoto that we threw off. And then the main event, Song Yadong versus Henry Cejudo, where I went Song Yadong and D Rose went Henry Cejudo. So pick champ still over here this week. So for this week, we only have 3 different ones. So Tamora versus Energy, Danny Barlow versus Sam Patterson, and Hurricane Hyder Emil versus William Gomi. That is the different picks for this week. So I would be like, hey, D Rose, which one you want to throw off or which 2 you want to throw off? But you don't have an option this week, man. And I'm pretty confident, dude. Maybe not as confident as I was, because I was hoping maybe like you would end up picking different for me on one of the girl fights, because I'm pretty confident on both the girl fights. And I'm pretty confident on Danny Barlow Patterson, but not really feeling too great on Tamora versus Charles Johnson, because I have went back and forth on that one. And I could just be, dead wrong on Hyder Emil versus William Gomi. Like, it could just be, as you say, just William Gomi, 3 round, just clean decision, just basically him just being a weenie, running away, not wanting to fight the whole time.
I was just fighting how William Gomi normally fights.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. But pick champ up on the line this week. Again, I got the champ right now. I'm going to hold that shit, though. Favorite play of the whole card, D-Rose. What is it, man? Podcast play this week.
I think for me it's going to be Chepe round 3 or decision. I think for me, I don't know what the lines are going to be just yet, but that's going to be something that I'm going to be using as a parlay piece, and I think Chepe gets it done, and that's going to be my most confident play this week is Chepe Mariscal round 3 or decision.
All right, we don't have exact odds for it yet, but they'll probably be out in the morning sometime. For me, you know what it is. You already know what it is, Steve Rose. Rule breaking animal over here. It's that Brundage Julian Marquez under 1.5. It's minus 145. Minus 145.
For your most confident play of the week, you're crazy.
You think that gets out of the first round?
Who knows? Why would you doubt Cody Brundage to get out of the first round?
It ain't going to be
also
him.
Thought he wasn't going to get out of the first round Bo Nickel and end up going into the third.
But exactly. He's going to be winning, though. That's the thing. He doesn't win a lot. But so if I think he wins, he's going to fucking smoke whoever he's fucking fighting. Yep, that's my play, though. Brundage versus Marquez. Well,
you might be the only person that's confident in that, because I don't know who else would be confident in betting anything involving Cody Brundage.
All right. Well, that's the play of the week. My side, Brundage versus Marquez under 1.5. D Rose's side is Chepe 3 or decision. Last week, my side hit. D Rose didn't. But with that being said, we hope we can hit that shit this week. And I know D Rose ain't going to play it, but I'll probably play it once the line opens up. Let's see what you guys got to say before we get out of here. I want Brundage to win. That win over Trayshawn Gore looks so good. Looking back on it, he seems like a super nice guy. Yeah. You know what? I'm glad Antoine's with me this week. D Rose just being a complete hater.
No, I'm trying to warn you, as everybody has, or I've tried to warn everybody for a long time, because I also remember you betting, I believe, the Abdul Razak Al-Hassan fight to start like the second round or something like that, and of course it didn't, because why would you expect that fight to start the second round?
I think the one that
It's
There
some
was
sort of over or something like
the-
that. The
there
one
was
that he
one
really
that
killed you
burned.
on was Cedricus Dumas.
I
That
think
was
it
the
was
one where
that
because
one.
he killed. Yeah, he killed me on that one too. He killed me on that one bad, and that was the last time I'd ever bet him because I was like,
Yeah,
I'm not getting got again.
yeah. I
And then
I
and
I
then
bet
again, everybody expected Bo Nickel to blow through him early, and then what did
mhm.
Cody Burners do? He lasted until the third round. I think you had submission round 1 or 2 by Bo Nickel, and he
I
got it
think
done in
I
round 3.
had Bo under 1.5, and so I
Yeah,
lost that one. But he won me money on the Jacob at Malkoon fight for being a weenie and getting hit in the back of the head, because I did have Cody Brundage. I think Cody Brundage round 1 and Cody Brundage via finish. I had bet both of them, so I ended up cashing them both. So happens again, man. Happens again this weekend. Cody Brundage comes out there, takes the sleeve off of his arm because he's always got this random like sleeve on his arm. Gonna take that sleeve off, expose the beast, and go in there and knock out the Cuban Missile Crisis. Let's see. We got Antoine. Also, if you guys had to guess what Dana's announcement is going to be, what is it? I don't even know at this point, but he's just waiting on us to get off. So I'm guessing probably as soon as we hop off here, he'll
as
decide
soon
to
as I
pop
do the
on.
Kai Care France face.
Yep, he's gonna.
What's up, guys? It's Dana White coming from the UFC Performance Institute
From
or the
from
Apex
the
or
war
whatever.
room. From the war room. International Fight Week. Going to be Ilya Taporia.
You mother.
It's what it's gonna be, dude. It's how it always is. What's always wild, dude, is right after we get off the podcast, we usually talk for like 10 more minutes, and it's usually like a good conversation that I feel like everyone would be they're like, oh, that's a pretty entertaining conversation. But I just we don't ever really know what's going to be until after it's over. Antoine saying, what if it's Poirier versus Taporia? That'd be wild, huh?
Kind of hope not. Honestly, I'd rather see Dustin give him a legend type fight. Hey, I wouldn't mind him seeing.
There
I
and
wouldn't mind seeing Poirier
announces.
versus.
If he gets on there and announces Fizzy versus Gaethje and Silva versus Mitchell, like that was already out, you pink fuck.
Yeah, but it makes sense because it's not UFC official yet, so that would actually make sense.
Put it on the UFC page. It's on the UFC page.
Okay, well then, if it's on the UFC page, then yeah, that would be very stupid.
Yeah, if he comes out and says that, I'm gonna be pissed. It's got to be like International Fight Week news or something. John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, Dustin Poirier versus Max for the BMF in Louisiana. That's my guess.
I'm refreshing his IG page now, and nothing as of yet.
Fuck no, he ain't. Dude, I'm telling you, he's Dana. We know you're listening, man. You're waiting on us to get. Just go ahead, hop on there live right now so we can react live. Because
what's up, guys?
Ideally, that's what we would like, but I don't think it's going to happen. So, with that being said, D Rose, let's see. How do you feel about Jamal turning around so quick, man?
Yeah. I mean, I know he said that having the time off, after that Alex fight, going into the Erie fight, kind of, felt like he kind of hindered him a little bit. So I think he wants to get back on the horse. So doesn't necessarily surprise me, but at the same time, it is a dangerous move going into a fight with a power puncher like Khalil.
Yeah, man, I agree. I hope he gets knocked out again anyway, but that's just me.
Yeah, I know that's your guy.
Yeah. All right. That's going to be all from us. Stay tuned. Dana White going to be on right after us, without a doubt, guaranteed. So as soon as this ends, be ready for Dana White pop up here to let you guys know a whole bunch more news that we didn't talk about in this podcast tonight. So we're going to cover it a full week later in next week's podcast. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys for stopping by. If y'all haven't already, hit that thumbs up button on y'all's way out. And catch me Friday right here live for Change of Cheddar. I'll give you my final picks, plays, bets, and any yeah, I will have some parlays to share with you guys because obviously we're going to do change of cheddar, trying to turn some change into some cheddar, just like we did last weekend. Keep it rolling this weekend. But with that being said, that's all from me. Anything from you, D-Rose?
No, man, we should be good. Good podcast today, and let's have a good rest of the week.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Have a good night. Everyone keep your buttholes tight. That's from Dave.
Dave's like, especially Aileen Perez.
All right. With that being said, that's all from us. Matt, D-Rose on that cyber screen. I'll see y'all Friday for Change to Cheddar. Catch Dana White after we get off the stream. With that being said, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.
What's up, guys?